racing in its purest form. Real cars on real roads, real fast. It's the Subaru Canadian Rally Championship on TSN. Hi again, everyone. Vic Roeder along with Paul Chater in the town of Bancroft, Ontario. Oh, about halfway between Toronto and Ottawa. And we're here for the 29th annual Rally of the Tall Pines, the final round of the North American Rally Championship.
Another great entry, 37 teams from Vancouver to Halifax and across the U.S. It's cold and it's raining, but there's no snow.
Rally on TSN is brought to you by Subaru, the beauty of all-wheel drive. And by Yokohama Performance Radio. Now, you've got control.
And Vic, despite the nasty weather, rallying draws ever-increasing crowds of spectators. And we know what they're looking for.
So consider this our little holiday gift to you. And they just keep coming back for more. Oh!
We've got mail. Ooh, almost.
That's it. Shiny side up.
Oh. Jeez, the spectators are brave.
And nobody moving.
Nice pirouette.
Absolutely. Great job. The Hippodrome in Quebec City. It's always a favorite part of the rally. Isn't that what the banks are for? Not fast enough.
Ailerons.
So our holiday gift to you, and we wish you all the very best in the new year. This is stage one of the Tall Pines, and this is car number one, Frank and Dan Sprongel and their familiar Audi Quattro S2.
Vic, they've already locked up the Canadian and North American Rally Championships. They've won this event 5 times, and obviously they're the heavy favorites to do it again. This season so far, they've had 6 victories and 1 second place in only 7 events. They're running on Yokohama tires. What a team.
150, 100.
And let's remember that rallying is teamwork. It's driver, co-driver, and they never seem to lose the desire, these two.
Not at all, and they work together perfectly as a team. And as many people have said before, that a co-driver can certainly lose a rally for you. Not necessarily win one, that's sort of up to the driver, but they have to work together very closely.
Eagle talent of Yves Barbe from Laval, Quebec, and Pierre Vazenet.
They had a great drive in the last event, the Rally Auto Charlevoix, running a strong 4th after 2 days, but they broke down just before the final checkpoint. They're running on Michelin tires, and the Tall Pines will have 11 special stages totaling 200 kilometers, racing on closed roads, of course. Now, the weather is usually icy and the roads are snowy, but today there'll be mud and rain, and the teams are concerned about their tires because they really haven't brought the right selection for this kind of condition.
Starting third, Sylvain Vincent, Dominique Cyr from La Plainte, Quebec, their Subaru Impreza 2.5 RS Turbo.
And they're entered by Subaru Lachute. Now, this car has dynamic rally suspension from England and approximately 300 horsepower under the hood. The car's still being developed for a championship campaign next season, but they were second fastest on this stage behind the Sprongles. The two fastest cars are running on Yokohamas.
And as we've said before, all that horsepower doesn't necessarily translate into good times because it's the balance between the power and getting that power to the surface.
And getting the power to a very unpredictable surface. As you can see, they've been running through mud, stones, there's standing water in places, and the road's starting to get chewed up.
Great looking car. Vincent and Cyr. Tom McGeer from Georgetown, Ontario, but not his wife Trish this time. It's John Belfleur from Thornhill, Ontario. And we're pleased to say Trish is expecting their second child, and we wish them well. She'll be the team manager next year.
They've got an Impreza WRX 375 horsepower.
So after the first stage, it's the Sprongles up by 21 seconds. Playing a siren to warn people we're coming back. And welcome back to the Rally of the Tall Pines. Vic Router with Paul Chater. The Sprongles continue to stretch their lead, Paul. This is stage 2, and it's stage 1, 10K just in reverse.
Which means the roads are going to get chewed up even more. Tire choice is critical. Here are McGeer and Belfleur much more competitive on the second stage. Perhaps their tires are more suited to the loose gravel conditions, or maybe they're just getting used to driving with each other as a team.
Yeah, explain that, of course. He usually has his wife sitting beside him. Is it just the little idiosyncrasies of knowing when to speak, maybe listening in, tuning into your co-driver?
And she knows when to warn him coming into a turn.
Vincent and Cyr, they were third fastest on the stage, dropping them to third overall in the early part of this event, which is 450 kilometers.
And they're getting used to a new vehicle as well, with a lot more horsepower than they've run in previous events.
But it's curious that one direction would be slower than the other. Jean-Marc Alcaraz and Shirley Normandine. This is the number 9 Mazda, the 323 GTR.
And this little car has an unbelievable, wait for it, 417 horsepower.
A couple of expatriate Irishmen now call New York home. Tom Lawless, Declan Hegarty.
They were an impressive 5th fastest on the second stage in their Mitsubishi GTX production GT class.
Sean Nichols from Lachine, Quebec, and Mike Koch from Nepean have already locked up the Group 2 wheel drive championship for Volkswagen.
The car landed badly off a jump and broke the right front strut near the end of the first stage. With smoke pouring off the rubbing wheel, Nichols finished the stage and effected repairs as best he could. On stage 2, the strut broke again, and it cost Nichols 13 minutes, dropping him to the back of the field. Keith
Townsend, who had that cartwheeling crash at Charlevoix, well, he has more trouble here. Unbelievable.
Yeah, well, it's really just a straight drive off the road into the bushes.
Yeah, it looked innocent enough.
But he can't get out, so he's honked his horn to warn the cameraman that he's coming through.
Cameraman Claude Garapi in the way, and now it really is beached. And out of the car, trying to get it going, and that is going to take an awful lot of work. So this is what they do at service. McGeer and Belfleur, routine check, no problems. Sprongle had time for some interviews. Vincent and Cyr, they're not happy with the front alignment, adding some toe in. And Nichols has replaced that strut that cost him on stage 2.
Well, we're having lots of fun until we came to this fast section of road with these yumpy things. It's like straight section with some hills, and looked fast enough. Then anyways, on a landing we came down and bottomed out badly and blew our strut to pieces. So the wheel came very cocked, and we had to go slowly to the end of the stage. At the end of the stage, we managed to get it straightened out a little bit, but temporarily. So on the way out of the stage, it popped out again. We had to stop inside the road and fix it. So we lost about 12 minutes.
Now from Bancroft, Paul, the team's headed out for 3 more stages. And this is the longest stage of the rally, 36.5 kilometers as we go inside with Vincent and Cyr.
Now we can see See, this is not only a long stage, it's very narrow, and it's very twisty. It's not a wide open, fast rally road. And we can see here, this is the work of an industrious beaver.
Yes, that's something. The dam's broken and it has flooded the road, but the rally continues. Remember what he was talking about? They're almost like little whoop-de-doos. It's flat, then it dips. You can see them here. How difficult that must be. Now, Sprongel knows this is where he can win the rally.
The surface is very soft, as you can see. He's the first car on the road, and he's chewing it up pretty badly. He's going to really push hard for one long stage like this to completely demoralize the opposition. And he can sit back, relax a little bit, save the car. He's always best on long stages, and he takes a devastating 1:22 seconds off the second fastest Sylvain Vincent. That's 2.25 seconds per kilometer.
Now this is Barb and Bazinet doing the splish splash. They are third quickest on the stage. They are fourth overall.
Nicholas Robinson, Carl Lindquist from Ohio in a Group 2 Honda Civic. Some teams creep carefully through the water hazard. Robinson tries to aquaplane all the way across it. He's in the top two-wheel drive car.
Doing a little hang forward there. So after two stages, the Sprongels dominating. McGear, without his wife, Trish, co-driver Belfleur, they have moved up to second.
In the classes, Robinson and Lindquist are leading Group 2, with John and Clark Painter from Nova Scotia on top in Production GT.
This is the Rally of the Tall Pines on TSN.
Look out, look out, look out.
2, 1, go.
Welcome back to the Rally of the Tall Pines here in Bancroft, Ontario. Vic Reuter, Paul Jader, as we ride along with the Sprongels, currently leading by over 2 minutes. And this is what they call the Iron Bridge stage. It's 8K long, and it's just outside the town of Bancroft.
Straight over.
And a much faster road than we saw on the previous stage. You can see it's wide, it's a little smoother, and they can put the power down to the road.
Here is the Iron Bridge. Setting up for that would be interesting.
There are approximately 1,000 spectators on this stage, but they tend to stand a little farther back than their counterparts in Quebec.
And look at how the conditions are changing here. Sylvain Vincent, third coming into the stage, but is now second on this 8-kilometer section. We talked earlier about the Sprongels being first and how they chew up the road. To be second here, do you follow the track or do you try to cut your own line?
But you're really cutting your own line, as long as the road isn't badly chewed up. I mean, you can see where the Sprongels have been over the road, but they haven't made it a hazard. So at this point, you're really just driving the road that suits you and your car. But you can use it as a guideline, along with a lot of other things, like looking at the tops of the trees to find out which way the corner goes. And if somebody has made a huge mistake going into this turn, maybe you slow down a little bit more. But generally, you drive the road suited to your conditions.
Jean-Marc Alcaraz, Shirley Normandine, and this is this little bomb. 400 horsepower. 400
plus horsepower. They were third fastest on this stage, but fifth overall at this point. Now, this is quite an amazing car. It was at one time entered in the World Rally Championship. Somehow it ended up in the hands of an enthusiastic millionaire in Jamaica who just beefed the engine up to 400 horsepower, roughly twice what they're used to running with.
And I see a good example there. Maybe just overcooked it a bit, but his line through that corner compared to the first two cars, and even here, a little wide, a little inside, and then forced to go outside. So not quite as stable coming through the corners as we've seen so far. Yves Barbe and Pierre Bazinet.
Fourth fastest and fourth overall so far in the rally. They're having a good event.
And a definite difference in the power you can see. Now let's just watch them as they come through the slower over the Iron Bridge. And as they come through the turns, let's see their track.
You can see there's already a few variations. He's taking a much straighter line into this corner. He's not in a big slide like the others were coming in. In fact, he's not sliding the car much at all.
And I'm sure power, horsepower, four-wheel drive as compared to two will affect the way you go in and out of corners as well. Patrick Richard, the former snowboard champion from Vancouver, was third in GT class.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of body damage there. He might have tagged a bush or a tree on the way through, and he had a problem with his clutch, dropping him down a position.
But as they say in the snowboarding world, hey man, you sketched the turn and you pooched your clutch. Ross Rebliati, I'm not, huh?
As long as the one helping them isn't suffering from secondhand exhaust fumes.
That service in Bancroft, the lights go on for 6 very long night stages.
The Sprongles have built such a lead they can back off a bit and give themselves a safety margin to save the car. And even at a 90% pace, they never drop out of the top 3 on stage times.
But this is exactly what you told us earlier they hope to do. You go out, you literally full court press in basketball terms. You try to build up the lead, and now you can pull back and conserve.
You want to get everybody chasing you, and then when you've got them in full flight and making mistakes, then you can back off a little bit.
That might surprise you in the dark, huh? A little puddle. Now, as for Tom McGeer, well, he can't afford to cruise.
Not at all. When his Impreza hit a large rock on stage 3, the rear differential was destroyed, leaving Tom with a front-wheel drive car for more than 50K of racing. He had dropped to 4th place when he pulled into the service for a half-hour stop. Now, the Subaru crew, probably the best in Canadian rallying, changed the rear diff in only 30 minutes. Even more amazing because the entire rear suspension had to come off first. Now, with the car back in shape, McGeer charged back and won this stage outright to reclaim 3rd spot and start to reel in 2nd place driver Sylvain Vincent.
So through 7 stages, here is the Subaru Top 10. Sprongle leads. Vincent and Sear are number 2. And in a battle for 2nd, look at this. McGeer, Belfleur are 3rd, just 3 seconds back. Yves Barr and Pierre Bazinet, a conservative 4th. Alcaraz and Norman Dean still having a lot of teething problems with that new Mazda. But when it works, it is very fast.
Americans, Robinson and Lindquist, are 6th overall and top Group 2 two-wheel drive in their Honda Civic.
Painter taking control of Production GT.
Tremblay led the GT class earlier, but he's dropped nearly 2 minutes behind the Painters.
The New Yorkers, Lawless and Hegarty, are 9th.
Greg Healy's GT class Impreza is 10th overall, just 2 seconds back.
And the Rally of the Tall Pines continues here on TSN when we come back. We welcome you back to the Rally of the Tall Pines.
Medium right.
Riding with Tom McGeer and John Belfleur. 4 stages to go, and it has been a roller coaster.
We broke the rear differential on stage 4, about 10 kilometers into the 35K stage. We had to do all that, the 2 spectator stages with front-wheel drive only, and I don't know, it was awful. We lost a ton of time. I think Vincent took about 1 minute and 45 seconds off it. The service crew did an amazing job at the service. 30 minutes, changed the whole rear end of the car. Off we went, full speed, and we took 1 minute back on the next stage, and we don't know about the one after that. But we're expecting to be able to climb back up into 2nd place now. I think Frank's just too far ahead to catch, and we're matching times with him, but it's just too much to do.
There was a ferocious battle going on for 2nd place between 2 of the Subaru teams. For Sylvain Vincent and Dominique Cyr, the Tall Pines had been going smoothly. Still getting used to driving a car with 300 horsepower, Sylvain moved into 2nd place behind Sprongle on the first special stage. His choice of Yokohama gravel tires may have been a slight edge over the Pirellis of Tom McGeer in the official Subaru entry.
Now, McGeer and Belfleur were just 7 seconds behind on the first stage, but they came back strongly on stage 2 to move ahead of Vincent by 6 seconds.
On the 27-kilometer stage 3, Vincent was quicker than McGeer, who had destroyed his rear differential and only had front-wheel drive. The interval stretched to 33 seconds.
McGear would have to persevere with just two-wheel drive through stages 4 and 5 before he could get to service. He not only lost ground to Vincent, but slipped back to 4th place behind Yves Barbe.
At service in Bancroft, the Subaru team quickly replaced the rear differential assembly.
McGear is always fast after dark, and with his car back in full health, he went all out, posting a fastest time on stage 6, passing Barbe and closing within 38 seconds of Vincent.
Stage 7, McGear takes a further 35 seconds off Vincent. Now the gap is down to just 3.
Stage 8, Vincent running second on the road, catches and passes Frank Sprongel. Can you believe it? His only flat tire of the season.
But McGear is even faster, winning the stage and regaining second, 4 seconds ahead of Vincent. Special stage 9 is a tie.
The final service break, 2 stages to go. Vincent is out of tires. He had expected a traditional snow and ice rally and had not brought enough Yokohamas for the 300K of soft gravel. So now he has to run a lower profile Michelin for the last 2 stages.
And the lower profile tires are not the right choice for the sharp rocks of stage 9, and Vincent suffers a flat, while McGear wins again, stretching the margin to 33 seconds.
But then on the final stage, it's McGear's turn for trouble when the rough road causes the gearbox mountings to break, and he has to limp home to the finish. But hearing he's second from Trish, well, you know he's delighted.
Oh man, we made it. I think the transmission's hanging on the skid plate right now, but we finished second place. It's great. Finally, it's been a good end to the season.
Vincent cannot take advantage because he'd suffered the second flat in as many stages.
Meanwhile, Sprongel coming through the water, arriving at the checkpoint to win his 6th consecutive Tall Pines Rally, his 6th Canadian Championship, and 3rd North American Rally Cup. Another dominating performance by the Sprongel brothers.
Great, fast, very quick last stage. Great event, can't complain. That's makes 6 in a row. I'm very pleased.
Congratulations to Frank and Dan Sprongel, while Tom McGear and his co-driver Edge Vincent for 2nd place.
Group 2 winners, Nicholas Robinson, Carl Lindquist in a Honda Civic.
John and Clark Painter from Nova Scotia, their production GT winners in their Subaru Legacy.
Production Sport winners, Carl Scheibel and Gail McGuire in a Volkswagen Beetle.
Mark Krawchuk wins the 1750 class and another $1,500 check from Subaru in his old 3-cylinder Justy.
And the 1750 championship won by Alana Rosenshine, the first woman to ever win a Canadian National Drivers' Championship.
The Rally of the Tall Pines brought to you by Subaru, the beauty of all-wheel drive. And by Yokohama Performance Radials. Now you've got control. On behalf of everyone here, thanks for joining us this season. Happy holidays, Happy New Year. Look for the first rally of 2000, January 28th, 29th in Quebec City. You're watching TSN, Canada's most watched sports network.